Hello, everyone. A fear too far. Of course, I know you all can peep the double entendre. A fear too far can be something positive, it can be something negative. Throughout all of my rides that I once had doing rideshare, most of the fears were terrific and most of the fears were far, which were good enough of the time. And the reason being is because they both go hand in hand. Being able to pick up someone that you don't know, you still don't know by the time he or she gets in the back of your car, and it takes them 30, 45 minutes away from where they were to where they need to be. It's one wonderful experience. First off, you learn so much about the person. You could tell if an individual is having a good day, a calm day, a terrific day. If they're looking forward to what's next on their itinerary of the day, may it be heading to work, coming from work, going to a jazz spot, going to a nightclub, or going to meet with friends. You can always tell. So I would always just have my listening ears on, just paying attention. It always allowed me the opportunity to learn about different clients that would get in my car. And due to the fear of being far, it gave me a lot of time to listen. I was able to be reiterated on life's challenges, obstacles that people go through on the daily, things that one may say is minute, where another person may say that it's major. I've had clients in my car that were married. I've had clients in my car that were single fathers, single mothers, and it was just interesting experiences. It's always interesting when they just want to share, share, share. And like I've said before, I never get out of pocket. I never get upset because I'm like, hey, I'm learning something. When you hear a parent talking about their kid, giving their kid high praises, and they're realistic praises, it's always it's always refreshing. And one reason it's refreshing because you really don't see too many positive stories in the media, social media, or the narratives. Most narratives that get pushed in society are negative. You have to really dig deep, and we all know why the negative narratives are pushed because negativity sells. As I once heard, if it bleeds, it leads. That is definitely true. Um, the distance, the distance going far was always something that I welcomed, even when it was rush hour. I welcomed it because I had a chance to, if the client was up to talking, having a good conversation, especially when I first started doing rideshare in the early stages, because I mainly just stayed around like my city limits. But anyone that's in the rideshare industry knows that when you do rideshare, you have to drive all around. Even though you can set the app up to keep you in a certain radius, however, that will impede on how much money you can make. For example, when I did rideshare, let's say I just did for the Fort Worth area, which means I couldn't drive out to Plano or the Colony, which means that I was limited to one who I would be able to assist and how much money I can make. Again, they go hand in hand. I've always found it to be interesting that when clients would get in my car, the first thing they always want to know if they were up to talking was twofold. how long have I been driving that day, and have I had any crazy people in my car? And I would always say, well, what's your definition of crazy? Most of them would laugh and give me their definition of crazy. But as I told them, as I'm about to share with you all, I really never had any crazy people in my vehicle. I had a few individuals hop into my car with mental illness. I had two people out of over 2,000 rides that hopped in my car that smell bad. They smell bad, but I just knew that if I get them to where they need to go, maybe they will have an opportunity to get fresh and clean. So that's the positive spin that I put on it. Initially, I was like, ah, man, in my mind, I was like, they smell horrible. But of course, I didn't say that because it would have been unbecoming of me. And again, I'm being a servant, so I usually accepted all parties that hop into my vehicle. A fare too far when doing rideshare is just an opportunity. I know you all have to believe me. Anyone that does rideshare, anyone that does rideshare in any capacity, you can be an individual that drives, or you can just be an individual that uses the application to get to the places that you need to be. And those of you out there that that does not do rideshare, I haven't forgot about you all, because think about it. When you want to go somewhere, depending on where it is, if you want to go there bad enough, you will drive 45 minutes to an hour. And those usually be fun drives. Most times, I don't know. You all can let me know in the comments. You all may drive 45 minutes to a new barbecue spot, or to a new shopping place, or to try a new dessert, or a new karaoke event. And usually it's worth it, because if it's worth it, that means even in that situation, your fare, even though it was far, it didn't really matter, because as we all know, you always have to have gas in your car. So when you have the gas, you really want to do it, you really want to be in that moment, it's not going to be an issue. And tying it back into rideshare, even in the origins of my journey, that's one thing that I came to the realization with. The only hiccup that I had, and you know, I just pushed through it, was driving in terrible weather. The terrible weather is mainly for me personally, in my personal opinion. I'm biased. Like, I love the rain. I just don't love the rain when I have to drive it. For all the factors that I mentioned in prior videos, I'll reiterate for a little bit. First off, the individuals around me, they don't know how to drive. Some are speeding as if they cannot hydroplane. People slamming on brakes. People irritated, agitated. And it always depends on the day of the week and where you're at. So depending on where you're at, from my time in the DFW, if you don't know the back roads and you get caught in a situation where there's construction being done, or it's rush hour, day or early morning, then you're gonna have to be patient. You don't know no back roads. You're gonna have to be patient. You're gonna have to be proactive. You're gonna have to let your client in your back seat know, like, hey, look, we're gonna be on rush hour traffic. I just got here, and for all this kept, if the client is honest with themselves, they definitely understand. They won't even get upset. Why? Because they scheduled the ride. Now, if they scheduled it at the last minute, that's on them. If they scheduled it early to where you were able to avoid rush hour, that's on them too. So they really couldn't be mad. Now, anyone that's currently doing rideshare, thinking about doing rideshare, and you ever experience anything like this and they try to blame you, you just got to understand that those men or those ladies do not want to take accountability. That's all I'm saying. And once you understand that, and you get them where they need to be, you know that the fear is never really too far. because it's a win. It's a win-win. It's a win-win. And that's all that it's about. Serving the people, being a service to people, that's a win. You getting paid for being a service. You being able to use what you do to establish new relationships, no matter the nature. Also, you can use it for tax write-offs. That is all for today. Like, share, and subscribe. Leave a comment if you want to. Hope you all continue to have a good day, and I'll talk to you all later. Peace.